All right, we are looking at depression. We're in Unit 4, abnormal psychology, and depression is a huge issue that affects many Americans. So it's very important for us to sit and look at a little more in depth. Now, one thing just to take note of is over here on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see images of the brain. And you could see a depressed brain versus a not depressed brain. Notice how much more level of activity there is in the brain that's not depressed. So that's a huge aspect here of depression to keep note of. All right, here we go. Let's look at the notes. All right, first off, don't have to write anything for this. Some things about depression. The median age of diagnosis of depression is 32. 35% of adults do not receive any treatment for depression, which is obviously a major problem. By the way, women are far more likely to actually go get help in treatment for depression than men. 17.7 million are the numbers of people annually every year that experience depression, and 50% will have a chance of having a second episode of depression. And it is the leading cause of disability in the United States. So this is a wide reaching phenomenon, and it's why it's something that's really important to understand. Okay, so here we go. Let's jump into the actual notes. So you should grab your note sheet, and here we go. According to the World Health Organization, depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide. So I just said that it was the leading cause in the United States, but it's also the leading cause around the world. Globally, more than 300 million people of all ages, from young all the way up to adults and older adults, suffer from the disorder, and the incidence is actually increasing everywhere in the world. So this is a massive thing. And again, very important to recognize the symptoms and understand what you need to do. Symptoms of depression, obviously, it's a mood disorder. It may come out of the blue, or it could come on the heels of some sort of defeat, personal loss. And you're going to look at, persistence feelings of sadness, worthlessness, like your life doesn't have value, hopelessness about things getting better, and helplessness, like I'm not able to change my life. I don't have agency. And then, of course, pessimism or guilt for things that maybe didn't go well in your life, and you feel like it's your fault, and you feel like this guilt that kind of keeps going. So those are some major symptoms of depression. So you really want to underline those on your sheets, like sadness, worthlessness, hopelessness, helplessness, pessimism, or guilt, and know those. Causes of depression, not writing anything. Actually, yes, you are writing them. You have sort of a chart on your place on your notes for this. So this is like the notes. I just don't have it set up the same way. But genetics. We know that people who come from families where you have a close relative who has depression, like you're more likely to get depression. Brain chemistry imbalance can be an issue, hence why um, um, there can be drugs or pharmaceuticals that can help you with that if that was a problem. Poor nutrition actually is connected to depression. I'll come back to that in a second. Some sort of physical health issue could actually cause depression. Of course, just like losing mobility or losing use of something or some sort of issue happening could cause you to be depressed. Drugs, obviously, the use of illicit drugs here is what we're talking about, or the illicit use of pharmaceutical drugs, prescription drugs. And then lastly, stress can definitely make you depressed. So those are all causes of symptoms. If you look over on the right, speaking about food, I just think this is really interesting. So one of the leading causes of nutrition that could lead to depression is the lack of eating omega-3 fatty acids, which is mostly related with eating fish. So if that could be something that you want to make sure you have. And then vitamin B, not being able to get enough vitamin B can actually cause depression. So, like, that's something that's also connected. And magnesium deficiencies also linked to depression. So, sometimes just like good vitamins and good nutrition can actually bring you out of depression. So, think about food and what you're eating if you ever have those type of symptoms. All right, let's move on. So, you should have that. Pause it if you need to. Other signs of depression. So people with depression may experience disruptions in sleeping. That's huge. And this could be a short-term thing. You could have problems sleeping for several weeks at a time, days, weeks at a time. That could be a sign of depression, or it could be the sign of stress as well, which kind of go together. That leads to insomnia, early morning waking, oversleeping. I mean, you could either have the I'm waking up really early because I'm depressed, or it could be like I'm sleeping too much. Also, eating behavior can change where suddenly your appetite changes, you gain weight loss, you lose weight. You also could have some physical symptoms, including headaches, digestive disorders like pain in your stomach, all right, and chronic pain. So all of these things are potential signs of depression. Now, notice they also could be signs of other things too. And I mentioned the fact that like stress could cause some of these things as well. So it's not depression, it's stress. So that's why it's always important to talk to someone to find out exactly if you ever had the symptoms, how it applied to you. All right, treatment for depression, and there are very effective treatments. Of course, the women are far more likely than men to actually seek treatment for depression, and that's actually true of all conditions. And so there is a cultural aspect of this where, for whatever reason, the macho-ness of men, whatever is going on here, that they're less likely to seek treatment. By the way, 1 in 8 women experience depression in their lifetime, and that is twice the rate of men. So 1 in 8 women will suffer or experience depression, whereas 1 in 16 men are likely to experience depression. All right, let's continue. Effective treatments include psychotherapy. Of course, that is a huge aspect of all of this. Just sitting down and talking with someone through a problem or issue or an event that happened in life can be huge. We know that from all psychology. And you correct the errors of thoughts, different beliefs, challenging beliefs that might underline the depression. That's huge. You also may learn how to cope with stress. Like that could be a major issue. Like you need to learn how to deal with stress better so that way you don't get the depressive symptoms. So that's something as well that can be done in psychotherapy. And then, of course, there are medical medications that can be given, and this can both relieve depressive symptoms and also include helping with suicidal thoughts. So, yeah, that's all of those things can be done in treatment of depression. It can be very, very effective. There's some lifestyle, and I've already alluded to these a little bit, but there's many lifestyle, natural measures that can use. One thing is, of course, diet. We already talked about that. Eating fish, lean red meats, whole grains, olive oil, fresh fruits and vegetables. All of those things could actually have a huge impact in reducing depression. So don't just think that immediately I need to go on medication. It could be that diet could be huge. Another thing that's huge with depression, and it's so underlooked, is simple exercise. And that could be something, or it could be as simple as joining a group activity like a chorus and singing and practicing meditation. All of these things can actually and have been shown to help reduce depression. Some may be more effective for some people than others, but indeed they've worked. By the way, yeah, the little meme here: exercise is the most potent and underutilized antidepressants, and it's free. Never, ever, ever underestimate the power of a walk, a run, exercise, bike rides. Do those things. It's always part of a healthy lifestyle, not just to mention like physical health, but also your mental health. And in fact, look at this. This is pretty wild. The long term impact of exercise versus medication or on depression. And you can see that exercise, look at the black bar there on the bar graph. Almost 90% of people recovered just from using exercise as their main way as antidepressant, whereas the relapse is below 10%. And then medication, it's about 50%. And then the medication relapse is much higher. And then a combination is actually lower. It's actually lower to use medication and exercise than it is just exercise alone. Now, granted, this is a limited study. If you look down here, the N number, which is the number of people that were in it, were only 83 people total. And then you had groups of 29. So obviously, this means much more study, but it is encouraging that just from exercise alone, you can really reduce your depression symptoms. And then I want to emphasize that with this point, which is exercise and depression. So working out and other forms of physical activity can definitely ease symptoms of depression and anxiety. Exercise can help keep depression and anxiety from coming back. And once you're feeling better, so like it can be used to come out of depression and having anxiety, but it also can help you from falling back into it. So this is absolutely powerful, and I can speak personally. not being able to go to school and be around students. I'm a people person. That to me is kind of a depression producing sort of event. And I know during the entire pandemic shutdown, I started exercising a lot more. I ran a lot more. I walked a lot more, and I could tell you, I've really enjoyed that. It's been helpful for me, so I encourage it. A couple of the last things. Why is exercise helpful? Well, there's a couple things. Releasing feel good endorphins, natural brain chemistry that enhances your sense of well-being. Those things happen during exercise, and so that's huge. And then also just like it takes your mind off the worries you have. Like depression can also be caused by just your mind not shutting off and you're thinking about things all the time. And just going out for a run, putting on some good music, and just exercising can be great. By the way, it doesn't have to be a run. Maybe you don't like running. Okay, go for a walk. Everybody can walk as long as they're physically able to. And so walking benefits up in the upper right hand corner, right above my head here. You can see 75 minutes a week can add 2 years to your life. So that's a physical thing. But 40 minutes or 3 times a week can protect your brain's memory. It also can, 30 minutes a day can reduce depression by 36%. And 60 minutes a day of walking can cut obesity risk in half. So there's just multiple reasons why you should walk or you should run, whatever fits your lifestyle. Now, obviously, you got to do about double the walking as the running. So just remember that. But both are super, super awesome for mental health and physical health. All right. So that completes the lesson on depression and awesome job. And we will see you on the other side.